take a good look. What does that flag represent? I think above all else, it represents freedom. Now, freedom and bravery have been here at the United States all the way since its very beginning, and it's really the foundation that we stand on. All the way back in 1775, ordinary women, men and women just like you and me, left home to fight the greatest military power in the world, and they were doing so for their freedoms, so that their children could live free and prosperous. Thousands of men marched onto battlefields with a musket or a sword to fight for that freedom. George Washington encouraged his men. The hour is fast approaching on which the honor and success of this army and the safety of our bleeding country depend. Remember, officers and soldiers, that you are free men fighting for the blessings of liberty. Well, that was how this country started out. These brave men, against all odds, beat the British, and in 1776, July 4th, the Declaration of Independence was signed, including these words by Thomas Jefferson, even in its earliest draft. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that amongst these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, the freedoms that have been fought over time in this country did not come free. The freedoms have been brought to us by fights, by deaths, and for people risking their own lives and sometimes giving their own lives so that the people in this country can live free. When Lincoln became president, he was against odds. The South was seceding from the country, and he went to war to prevent them from separating. That's how the Civil War began, but as it went on, it became so much more than that. It became a civil rights war for slavery to be abolished. And when Lincoln was encouraging his men during the Civil War, he often wasn't encouraging them that we need to stop the South from succeeding. It was often encouraging his men by encouraging them to stop slavery. He had some famous quotes. "Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves," was one of his rallying cries. And a lot of his men really felt like what they were doing was noble work. Up to 750,000 people died in that Civil War, and the majority of them were Union soldiers fighting to end slavery. So freedom comes at a price, but Lincoln had to weigh out those deaths and decide if they were worth it. But he fought that every drop of blood that was drawn with the lash shall be paid by another drawn with the sword. A strong testament to his feeling about the deprivation of freedom of anyone here in this country was to be completely untolerated. Well, all of those deaths were not for naught. The Union won the Civil War, and it was a huge milestone in civil rights for black women, children, and men that were released from slavery. As Roosevelt became president, he had very strong feelings about slavery and what an American needs to do to be deserving of that slavery. We had risen to become one of the most powerful countries in the world, but with great power comes great responsibility. What are we to do with that freedom? Theodore Roosevelt thought that we could use that freedom to influence the world. He said, "Much has been given to us, and much rightfully will be expected from us. We have duties to others and duties to ourselves, and we can shirk neither. We have become a great nation, forced by the fact of its greatness into relation with other nations of the earth, and we must behave and be seen as people with such responsibilities. He even went as far as to say that you're not deserving of living in this country unless you're doing what you can to make an impact on the country, whether that be acting like a great mother or father, or help our neighbor when you can. He said, "Let us be true to our democratic ideals, not by the utterance of platitudes, but by living our lives in such a manner as to show that democracy can be efficient in public welfare during period peaks and efficient in securing national freedom in times of war. The democratic ideal must be that of subordinating chaos to order, of subordinating the individual selfishness, collective self-sacrifice for a lofty ideal, training every man to realize that no one is entitled to citizenship in a great free commonwealth unless he does his full duty to his neighbor, his full duty to his family life, and his full duty to the nation." We have become a great nation, and we're far from perfect, but compared to other countries, we have freedoms that they can only dream of. So what to do with those freedoms? Well, just as Theodore Roosevelt said, we should build each other up and support each other and continue to grow as a country. Because we are the land of the free and the home of the brave, and there is nothing that together as a nation we cannot accomplish. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and put your hands on your hearts and join us for the national anthem. For some of these brave men and women right before us now, this may be, unfortunately, the only public recognition that they ever get for their service. So once again, let's tell them how much we appreciate them as a country. gentlemen, this concludes our evening lighting ceremony. Thank you all so much for coming out. I hope you have a wonderful night. Please drive safe on the way back home. All of the wildlife is coming out right now. Try not to crush a marmot on the way. Have a great rest of the night.
Nakukulay na ilaw. Nagre-reflect sa mga guys. Ano gawa ganyan, no? Ba't kayo bumabalik doon? Anong ginagawa mo para bumabalik doon? Gagalawin lang. Sige, ako muna ba mo?